Good afternoon, everybody. Great to see everybody. I see so many familiar faces. It's also good to see some new friends to learn about what we've been doing here. It's so exciting, this SIF opportunity. I asked Seth if I could have the opportunity to do the fun part, which is to talk about the partnerships that you're going to hear about in just a short period of time. This is where the rubber hits the road, folks, right? These are the successful partnerships. These are the pilots. These are the seeds that we want to grow because we know that these are things that work. We want to play a role, instrumental role in making that happen. We're going to talk a little bit about these 4 partnerships and what they have in common, what makes them so special. And they are very special because they are employer-led. And what's the big deal about that? You've heard a million people now come up and talk about that. But what makes it so special is that these people have now come together. We've had employers, often they face some sort of common challenge. They're coming together and they're thinking, hey, we have some jobs we have to fill. We all are sort of in the same boat. How can we work collectively to kind of think this through? They begin to work together and talk about it. They then think after that, they'll say, all right, what are the career pathways that will take us there? What are the training opportunities that we can make available to people so that they can be ready for these positions? Who else can we bring to the table? And at that point, they bring in other people from the community. They bring in other stakeholders, other job training organizations, educational institutions, state agencies, a whole host of other folks who can provide the kind of assistance and services that collectively kind of bring all the pieces of the puzzle together so people have what they need, so they can get the skills they need to move into jobs that will pay family-sustaining wages. And is that not a win-win for everybody? Yes? The other wonderful thing about the employer engagement piece of this is that employers are also not only kind of talking together, figuring out what are the right kinds of training paths, what you need to move people into this, but they also are co-investing in this training. They're also providing in-kind assistance, and they also, very importantly, can serve as powerful advocates in the public policy arena, because they can stand up and they can say we should invest more resources in sector-based training because we know that this is what works. We also know that they can serve as powerful advocates for how we can remove the policy barriers that exist for lower skilled workers. And that's very, very important moving forward. And all of these employers, they're very active in the leadership and the governance of these partnerships as they move forward. So why are they so engaged? What's all this time and energy and resource they're putting into it? Why? Because they know that if they do this, they're going to be successful, both in reducing turnover and also in increasing productivity. Where the workers get out of it, they get to have credentials, move into higher paying jobs, and this is indeed a win-win for everybody. So what do all these partnerships have in common? Well, they really look to kind of specialize their services so they can tailor their services for the needs of the people that they're trying to reach. For people who are lower skilled, we want to make sure that we give them career coaching, that they have an opportunity for contextualized literacy services, they can get educational and vocational credentials, they can get on-the-job training. So the partnerships are all working in various aspects of those services. We also want to make sure, and you'll hear about this, that they're going to serve collectively about 2,000 people over 2 years. And they were selected because they had demonstrated that they were effective, that they had strong industry outlooks, which is important because we want to make sure that there are real jobs at the end of this rainbow. And we want to make sure that, and we have proven that they have persuasive plans for expansion because we want to grow this work. Now, out of the 4 partnerships that you'll see featured today, 2 of them are big partnerships, okay? They're very large. They serve dozens of employers. They have hundreds of skilled, lower skilled workers that they're working with. And this is going to help them to develop some new training programs and to reach out to even more people to become involved in these initiatives. 2 of the other partnerships are smaller partnerships, but they're working with a highly targeted set of employers and some highly targeted populations of what we would say maybe more challenging populations, but nonetheless need this assistance. They focus on at-risk youth and young adults and ex-offenders, which is, as we heard the mayor talk about, this is something that's very, very, very important. They're going to be able to build more robust services and build out their services that they're providing, and they're going to be able to, again, tailor what they're going to do to these populations. So I'm now going to move on to, because I know you're like, yeah, enough of her. Forget about her. I'm going to move on now to introducing our first partnership. Our first partnership is going to be the Roots and Reentry Partnership. And as you heard earlier, this partnership moves ex-offenders into high-demand jobs in landscaping and horticulture. And this enables folks who are prison inmates to get vocational and life skills training while they are still in prison by working in the prison's garden, and also outside of the prison where they're able to come out on release to work at Bartram's Garden in Southwest Philadelphia. Anybody been there? That's a fabulous place. Have you been? You should go. It's really wonderful. And after they have been released, they are then placed into jobs with local employers who can then provide them with the sustained supportive services they need so they can be successful and be retained in their positions. So without further ado, I'm now going to introduce, and I'm hoping I'm saying your name correctly, Ken Koloje, right? All right, okay. With KJK Associates, which is an area landscaping firm, and Rashid McRae, who you met a little earlier, who is a Roots to Reentry graduate.